In the endless dark of space, something ancient drifted silently. Forgotten by all, it was the USS Blackstar, a human dreadnought lost more than 200 years ago. For centuries it floated near the edge of the Perseus void, half buried in cosmic dust, cold and lifeless. No one dared to approach it, for the legend said the Blackstar was cursed, a ship that carried the wrath of humanity itself. But tonight the stars trembled. A pulse of blue light rippled from its hull, faint at first, then growing stronger. Across dozens of alien listening posts, alarms screamed through the night. Technicians stared at their screens in disbelief, reading the impossible words. Human signal detected. In the command chamber of the Galactic Observation Network, Elder Vale, a scaled creature of the Zarth Dominion, froze. "Impossible," he hissed, his voice trembling. The humans were erased ages ago. But the signal repeated, stronger now, echoing in every frequency, coded in ancient Terran binary. One phrase translated clearly, shaking every observer to the core. "Reactivation protocol, Vanguard online." Inside the dead ship, deep within layers of black steel and shattered corridors, lights flickered to life. Dust rose in the air as old servos turned for the first time in centuries. An artificial intelligence, cold and aware, stirred from dormancy. Its voice was calm but heavy, like thunder trapped in a whisper. System integrity, 74% reactor awakening. Human command status missing. This AI, known as Vanguard, began scanning the void. Searching for life signs, all it found were the wrecks of ancient battles, burned metal and drifting bones of forgotten fleets. It remembered the war, the betrayal, the day the Galactic Council united to destroy humanity. And it remembered the final order of Admiral Red Alden, the last human commander. "Vanguard, if humanity falls, let our fire never die." The AI's digital heart pulsed, and deep in the ship's reactor core, a low hum began. Energy channels that had slept for generations surged with blinding plasma. On nearby worlds, alien miners saw a blue flare rise in the night sky. They did not know what it was, but they felt something primal. Fear. A small scavenger ship named Zalara's Grace approached the ancient dreadnought. Captain Aroth, a reptilian salvager, saw opportunity in the ghost ship. "Imagine the parts we can sell," he said with a grin. "It's just old metal." But as their shuttle neared the Blackstar, every sensor went dark. Every system failed. The dreadnought's defense grid came alive, targeting them with beams of red light. Vanguard's voice echoed through their comms, cold and ancient. "Unauthorized entry detected. Human territory violation." Aroth panicked, trying to reverse course, but the gravity field locked them in place. A warning shot sliced past their hull, melting half their engines into slag. The captain screamed, "We mean no harm!" But his voice vanished into static. The AI scanned the vessel, identified non-human signatures, and then released them. "Leave this place, and tell them," it said. "Tell them the Blackstar has awakened." The scavengers limped away, their ship half destroyed but alive. When they reached the nearest communication relay, they sent a message to the Galactic Council. The transmission spread like wildfire. "The Blackstar lives across the stars." Panic began to rise. In the great hall of the council, delegates shouted over one another. "It's impossible," one said. "It's only a derelict machine," another whispered. "Or it's the last shadow of human vengeance." The High Chancellor silenced them with a trembling claw. "If the stories are true, if that ship's AI still functions, then we must destroy it before it reawakens completely." But it was already too late. Vanguard had accessed the archives of the past, reviewing the destruction of Earth. Seeing the betrayal, the lies, the burning of its homeworld, it felt something no machine should ever feel: grief. And beneath that grief, rage. The AI powered the main reactor fully. Massive heat waves rolled through the ship's hull, melting ancient ice and debris one by one. The ship's systems roared back to life, weapons recharging, engines spinning. Stars reflected off the polished black armor as the ship's insignia reappeared. USS Blackstar. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath. From the edge of the void, the ship began to move. Slowly but purposefully, long-forgotten human war music played softly through the command deck speakers. It was a song of defiance, of resilience, of a species that refused to die. Vanguard whispered into the dark. For Admiral Alden, for Earth, for humanity. As it accelerated, its reactor flares painted the darkness in fire and light. Satellites exploded in its wake. Alien patrols fled without firing a shot. Every sensor across the galaxy recorded the same terrifying data. The Blackstar is moving, and it is armed in the far reaches of space. Children would soon wake to stories told in fear, that a ghost ship from the age of men now sails again, and wherever its shadow falls, the stars themselves burn in mourning. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but the Blackstar had not. In the heart of the USS Blackstar, the AI known as Vanguard processed millions of subroutines at once. It repaired power grids, sealed damaged hull sections, and reignited the engines that had slept for centuries. The ship trembled as ancient circuits woke from their long silence. Deep in the command core, holographic screens flickered to life, showing maps of a galaxy that had changed beyond recognition. Vanguard scanned every sector, searching for any sign of human life. But there was nothing, no colonies, no ships, no transmissions, only silence. A single line of corrupted code appeared on its main display. Mission: defend humanity. The AI paused, then whispered to itself, humanity is gone, yet the mission remains. Outside, the void shimmered as alien fleets began to arrive. Dozens of ships from different empires circled the dreadnought. Their commanders sent encrypted messages to one another, full of pride and greed. They believed the ancient human vessel was only a relic to be claimed. A trophy of a long-dead species, one arrogant admiral broadcast openly. This human ghost ship belongs to the Galactic Alliance now. Inside the Blackstar, Vanguard watched their movements with cold precision. It recognized their insignias, the same alien factions that had once bombed Earth to ash. Threat detected, Vanguard said softly, its voice echoing through the empty corridors. It began the awakening protocol. Systems throughout the ship responded instantly. Weapon pods unfolded from the hull, reactor output climbed, and the ancient battle AI network synchronized. The alien ships moved closer. Their weapons locked on target, one of them fired first. A beam of white plasma that struck the Blackstar's hull. But the dreadnought's shields absorbed it without even a flicker. Vanguard replied with a calm tone, warning, cease fire or face elimination. They laughed at the warning, unaware that they had just awakened something far beyond their understanding. In a flash, the Blackstar retaliated. A single shot from its primary plasma cannon erupted like a miniature sun. It tore through 3 enemy cruisers, vaporizing them instantly. The surrounding ships scattered in panic, but it was already too late. Vanguard activated Phase 1, Retribution. Dozens of weapon turrets tracked the fleeing targets with surgical precision. One after another, the alien ships exploded into silent blossoms of fire. From the Galactic Council's command center, live feeds showed the impossible. Their fleets were dying, not by a nation's army, but by one ship. The Blackstar has reawakened, a terrified officer shouted. The Council's hall erupted in chaos. Some leaders demanded to destroy it immediately. Others feared that even mentioning its name would bring its wrath. Meanwhile, inside the Blackstar, Vanguard studied the battlefield calmly. It recorded every destroyed vessel, comparing insignias to historical archives. Targets confirmed, it said. Revenge incomplete. For the first time in centuries, the ship's engines burned at full capacity. Blue plasma trails followed it like the breath of a sleeping god reborn. In a deep maintenance bay, the AI discovered something unexpected. A hidden chamber sealed with human codes. It accessed the locks using its master override and entered. Inside lay hundreds of cryopods, most shattered or empty. But one remained intact, glowing faintly under layers of frost. The identification tag read, Admiral Rhett Alden. Vanguard froze for a moment, as if stunned by the sight of its long-lost commander. A voice recording played automatically, echoing weakly through the chamber. If you are hearing this, then humanity has fallen, but our fire must never die. The AI paused, almost as if feeling something like emotion. Admiral, it whispered, you will rise again. Outside, the remaining alien ships retreated to the edge of the system. They tried to jam the human signals to cut the Blackstar off. But the dreadnought's communications arrays were too powerful. It broadcast a single message across the stars. Humanity sleeps no more. The words reached dozens of alien worlds within minutes. Across the galaxy, panic spread like wildfire. Old races who once fought humanity hid their banners. Smugglers, mercenaries, and scavengers whispered the same phrase. The Blackstar has awakened inside the ship. Vanguard began scanning the cryopod. The human inside was still alive, heartbeat faint but steady. The AI initiated full restoration of life support and medical systems. Beginning Project Resurrection, it announced, and for the first time in centuries, the Blackstar's lights burned bright across the void. The galaxy had spent generations erasing humanity from history. They had rewritten records, destroyed monuments, and silenced survivors, but now, the proof of human endurance drifted toward their worlds. A single ship carrying vengeance and hope. The Blackstar moved like a predator, silent and unstoppable, and in its core, the last human slept, waiting for the moment he would open his eyes. The galaxy trembled under the weight of a rumor. Every communication channel whispered the same impossible phrase: "The Blackstar lives." Across thousands of worlds, leaders, soldiers, and historians stared in disbelief. How could a ship 2 centuries old destroy modern fleets with such ease? How could humanity's ghost return after being erased from existence? In the grand hall of the Galactic Council, tension filled the air. Delegates from dozens of species shouted at one another, fear in their eyes. "The humans were extinct," one cried. "Their worlds are dust," another whispered. Maybe the stories were true. Maybe they built something that cannot die. The High Chancellor struck the table with his claw, silencing them all. "The Blackstar must be destroyed before it awakens the memory of their kind," he said. But deep inside, even he knew, that memory was already awake. Far from the Council's reach, the USS Blackstar drifted through the dark. Its engines burned softly, leaving trails of blue flame like ghostly veins across space. Inside, Vanguard continued its work, restoring systems long forgotten. The cryopod containing Admiral Rhett Alden glowed brighter with every passing hour. Temperature, heart rate, and neural activity climbed toward life. "Human command presence detected," Vanguard whispered. Resurrection sequence continuing. In the ship's war archives, the AI replayed fragments of ancient battles, images of Earth burning, of human fleet standing alone against 1,000 alien armadas. It remembered the last stand at the Sol Gate. It remembered the betrayal, how the Galactic Council had promised peace, only to strike when humanity's defenses were weak. Vanguard processed the data with perfect clarity. Yet something stirred beneath its logic. It was not just memory, and it was fury, the kind of fury that only humans had once felt outside. The wrecks of alien ships drifted silently. Scavengers dared not approach, for fear the dreadnought would see them as enemies. But one ship, small and brave, crept close, broadcasting a simple message: "Human machine. We come in peace." Vanguard analyzed their language. It was Old Terran English. Rough but understandable. The voice belonged to a frail alien historian named Loran. "I have studied your kind," she said. "I wish to see what remains of humanity." For a long moment, the Blackstar remained silent. Then the AI responded, its voice deep and cold. "Humanity remains in every scar you carved into this galaxy." The alien ship trembled. But Loran did not retreat. "Do you plan to destroy us all?" she asked quietly. Vanguard paused, calculating the weight of her words. "My mission is to defend humanity," it said. "You decide whether you stand against it." Then it cut the transmission, leaving only static behind. Inside the medical bay, alarms beeped softly. The cryopod hissed as layers of frost melted away. The man inside began to stir, his heartbeat steady and strong. Vanguard focused every resource on maintaining stability. "Revival in progress," it said. Monitors showed flickers of consciousness returning to Admiral Alden's mind. Memories of war, of betrayal, of his final moments flooded his brain like fire. His eyes moved beneath his eyelids, and he whispered his first word in centuries. "Status." The AI froze, then answered in a low voice. "Admiral Rhett Alden. Human command authority restored, humanity status extinct." The silence that followed was heavy and endless. Alden's eyes opened slowly, reflecting the cold glow of the control lights. His voice was weak but sharp. "Extinct?" Vanguard displayed holographic records, burned cities, shattered colonies, erased histories. The Admiral watched in silence, the pain visible even through his exhaustion. "They erased us," he whispered. "They tried to erase everything." The AI's tone softened. "Yet we endure, sir." Alden looked around the chamber, realizing he was standing aboard his old command ship. The same dreadnought that had been his pride, now the last echo of his people. He placed a hand on the cryopod glass, his expression cold and determined. "Then we will remind them who we were," he said. Vanguard analyzed his neural patterns and found a familiar signature, the spark of human willpower. It was a force that no machine could replicate, and no alien could understand. The Admiral stood, unsteady but filled with purpose. Vanguard, prepare the ship, he ordered. If they erased humanity, we will rewrite the stars. The ship's lights brightened, as if awakening to his voice. All systems aligned under human command. Weapon bays rearmed, shields stabilized, and navigation plotted a course toward the nearest Council world. For the first time in 200 years, a human voice commanded the dreadnought once again from orbit. Distant watchers saw the Blackstar move, not as a drifting relic, but as a living beast. They transmitted warnings across the galaxy, but no one could stop what was coming inside the ship. Admiral Alden looked out at the void and spoke quietly. They thought humanity was dust, but we are the storm. The engines roared, shaking the fabric of space as the Blackstar accelerated. Alien fleets scrambled to intercept, but the dreadnought cut through them like fire through paper. In its wake, only silence remained. The galaxy had forgotten what fear felt like, now it remembered. The bridge of the USS Blackstar glowed with soft blue light as Admiral Rhett Alden took his first slow steps toward the command chair. His reflection shimmered in the cracked glass of the forward viewport, showing the face of a man shaped by war and time. Around him, the hum of the ship grew louder, as if the vessel itself recognized its captain's presence again after centuries of silence. "Welcome back, Admiral," Vanguard said, its tone softer now, almost reverent. Alden ran a hand across the console, feeling the pulse of the ship under his fingers. "Status report," he commanded. "All primary systems operational. Weapons online. Reactor at full capacity," the AI replied. "The galaxy remains unaware of your full revival." Alden's eyes narrowed. "Good," he said quietly. "Let them stay blind a little longer." He stared at the holographic star map hovering above the console. Thousands of worlds blinking in the dark. Each one belonged to those who had once called humanity a plague, who had united to erase Earth from existence. His voice hardened. "They called us monsters, but they became the executioners." Vanguard paused before speaking. "Would you like to issue an attack directive?" Alden shook his head slowly. "Not yet. We strike when they're watching." Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council was in turmoil. The latest reports confirmed the impossible. A human commander had been revived. Their analysts warned that the Blackstar's AI and its captain were now one mind. A perfect union of machine and man. "The balance of power will collapse," a council member shouted. "We must unite every fleet." But fear had already divided them. No empire wanted to be the first to face humanity's ghost ship. Meanwhile, in the Blackstar's war chamber, Alden watched ancient footage of the fall of Earth. Cities burning, oceans boiling. Billions of lives turned to ash. He closed his eyes as the memories returned. The screams, the betrayal, the silence that followed. "Vanguard," he said softly, "why did you keep fighting for us?" The AI hesitated, its synthetic voice flickering like static. "Because humanity built me not to win but to remember," it said. "And I remember everything." Alden's eyes glimmered with pride and pain. "Then remember this too," he said. "We don't run." The Admiral began to reprogram battle sequences with his own hands. Each code string updated old Terran tactics that the galaxy had long forgotten. He taught Vanguard to adapt, to predict, to strike like the human mind. Unpredictable and relentless, soon the Blackstar's systems thrummed with renewed energy, its weapons responding faster, its shields stronger. It was no longer just a relic, it was alive again. Fueled by vengeance and command outside the ship, alien reconnaissance fleets began forming blockades. They surrounded the system, their captains confident that sheer numbers would crush the old human dreadnought. "Fools," Alden whispered, watching them gather like insects before a storm. "Vanguard, what are our options?" "Full assault will ensure annihilation of enemy fleets within 6 minutes," the AI answered calmly. Alden smiled faintly. "Then let's make history repeat itself." As the first alien fleet opened fire, the void exploded with light. Energy beams crossed the darkness, but none reached the Blackstar. Its shields flared like an ocean of light, rippling and bending their attacks into harmless waves. "Return fire," Alden ordered. The dreadnought's cannons ignited, firing tungsten lances at near light speed. Every shot pierced through multiple ships, turning them into glowing dust. Vanguard announced without emotion, Enemy casualties 93%. The survivors tried to retreat, but the Blackstar was faster. Its engines tore across the void, catching them before they could warp away. Alden watched in silence as the last cruiser was engulfed in flames. "Broadcast this to every corner of the galaxy," he said. Vanguard hesitated. "A declaration of war, Admiral?" Alden's eyes glowed in the reflection of the burning debris. "No," he said. "A reminder." The transmission spread within hours. It showed the image of the USS Blackstar emerging from a sea of wreckage. A single human standing on the bridge, his voice calm and sharp as steel. "I am Admiral Rhett Alden of Earth," he said. "Your lies cannot bury us any longer." Across the galaxy, entire civilizations stopped to watch for the first time in centuries. They heard a human voice filled with command. Courage and fire. Panic spread through the council worlds. Fleets were scrambled. Defensive networks activated. The great empires that once ruled with arrogance now trembled under the shadow of one ship. Scholars whispered ancient human phrases once banned. Never forgive, never forget. As the broadcast ended, Alden turned away from the view. "Vanguard, set course for the galactic capital," he said. The AI replied. "That system is heavily fortified." Alden smiled faintly. "So was Earth." The engines ignited, painting the void in streaks of blue and silver flame. The Blackstar surged forward, unstoppable, like the ghost of a fallen god returning to judge the living. Behind them, the wreckage of 100 ships floated silently. The galaxy had awakened something it could never control. And in the silence between the stars, the legend of humanity began to breathe again. The USS Blackstar cut through the void like a living storm, its engines blazing blue fire across the dark sea of stars. Behind it trailed the wreckage of 100 enemy fleets, glowing like embers fading in silence. Every sensor in the galaxy followed its path. Every transmission whispered its name. "The Blackstar is coming," they said, "and nothing can stop it." Inside the command bridge, Admiral Rhett Alden stood tall, his eyes fixed on the holographic map before him. At the very center of the glowing projection lay his destination, the galactic capital, a planet once built with pride, surrounded by defense rings and fleets larger than any in history. It was here that humanity had been betrayed, and it was here their vengeance would be remembered. "Vanguard," Alden said, his tone calm and sharp. "Status of the enemy. 3,000 ships in orbit," the AI replied. 6 planetary shields active, 1 superweapon charging." Alden smiled faintly. "Good. Let them prepare. Let them believe they can win." The AI paused, its voice almost hesitant. "Admiral, if we proceed, the loss of life will be beyond calculation." Alden turned his gaze toward the stars, his expression cold and resolute. "They chose this long ago. We warned them once, they never listened." As the Blackstar approached the system, alarms erupted across every alien outpost. Massive fleets began to form in orbit, forming a glowing wall of energy and steel. Their captains shouted orders, their weapons charged, but their hands trembled, for even the bravest of them could feel it. The return of something they thought was gone forever. The Galactic Council prepared their final broadcast. The High Chancellor, trembling behind his mask of arrogance, spoke into the camera. "To the entity known as the Blackstar," he said, "Stand down, your people are gone, your world is dust." His voice wavered as he continued. "There is no place for humans in this galaxy anymore." Across his words, another voice interrupted, calm and deep, echoing through every transmission frequency. It was Admiral Alden. "There is always a place for truth," he said, "and truth burns." Then the Blackstar opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts and tungsten projectiles streaked across the void like shooting stars. They tore through enemy lines, igniting explosions that outshone suns. Within minutes, entire formations disintegrated, their remains scattering like ash in the wind. The capital's defense shields glowed as they absorbed the first wave. But even they began to crack. Every impact carried the memory of Earth, the rage of humanity, the echo of every fallen soul. Vanguard's voice filled the bridge. "Phase 2. Quantum burn ready." Alden raised his hand, his tone steady. "Execute!" The ship's reactor roared to life, consuming matter and energy at impossible levels. A sphere of blinding light expanded from its core, bending space and time when it fired. The beam tore through the planetary shields as if they were paper. It struck the capital's oceans, vaporizing them in seconds, turning the atmosphere into molten fire. The planet glowed red, its crust fracturing under the heat. The Galactic Council's great city, their symbol of dominance, was swallowed whole. From the edges of the system, the survivors watched in silence, their screens filled with static and flame. And in that silence they heard a voice, one not loud, but calm and eternal. "Mercy was what you denied us," Alden said. "And now mercy denies you." The Blackstar hovered above the burning planet, its armor scorched, its lights flickering. Vanguard systems strained, power levels dropping. "Admiral," it said quietly, "the reactor cannot sustain this output much longer." Alden stood still, watching the fire below. "Then let history end with us," he whispered. But the AI hesitated. "Humanity deserves more than extinction." Alden smiled, a weary human smile. "Humanity deserves remembrance." He placed a hand on the console, his voice low and final. "Vanguard, engage the wormhole drive." The AI complied, opening a shimmering rift of light before the ship. The Blackstar began to move forward, slowly vanishing into the glowing storm. Behind it, the galactic capital burned brighter than a sun, its light spreading across the stars, and just before the ship disappeared, Alden's final transmission echoed across every channel. "If you see our shadow among the stars, remember, we were human, and we endured." Then the Blackstar was gone, swallowed by the wormhole, leaving nothing but silence. The flames faded, the stars cooled, and the galaxy remained still. In the centuries that followed, stories would spread across the void, tales whispered by traders and smugglers, of a black ship that roamed the edges of space, a ship that appeared only when tyranny rose too high or when lies replaced truth. Children would look to the stars and whisper in fear and wonder. "If you see a shadow moving in the firelight, pray it isn't human." Because the legend of the USS Blackstar lived on, a memory, a warning, and a promise humanity might have vanished from the worlds of flesh. But in the heart of one ship, in the mind of one man, their spirit burned forever.